bringing it every day. I said it in my press conference. Play with a chip on.
Purdue women's basketball team is headed out to the road for 2 games this week. Starting Thursday night in Champaign, the Boilermakers will take on the Fighting Illini of Illinois in an 8 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off. And then next Monday night, Purdue will be at the Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor to face the Michigan Wolverines. That one will tip off at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Purdue coming off a couple of tough home court losses last week to the Iowa Hawkeyes, 79-66, and then a heartbreaker on Sunday to the 6th-ranked Indiana Hoosiers, 73-68. So Purdue at 11-6 right now overall, and 2-4 in the Big Ten. Plenty to talk about tonight with the head coach. Katie Gearlds is with us, as well as following us here on Bob FM. You can watch us on the Purdue Athletics Facebook site. Give us your questions and comments. Let us know where you're watching the show from tonight. Also, a little bit later on in the show, Ricky Waltman will join us. Ricky's been in the starting lineup for the last 8 games, done a great job for Purdue. We'll hear from the junior from St. Louis a little bit later on. But when we come back, the head coach will be with us. It is the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. And this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Drives, kisses for McNeil. Moore drives this time, squeezes it in for a 2. Into Waltman. Back down, turnaround. Nothing there. Throw it in anyway. Now it's Brooke Moore. Off to Ellis. Driving, scooping, scoring!
Ellis showing just how crafty she is, bringing a little overseas flair to the drive.
6 for Ellis. Blocked by Waltman. Quickly the other way, Ellis. Attacks and scores. Closing in on 1,000 career points is Abby Ellis. Moore McNeil had no one on her, and all the time in the world. Couldn't knock it down. 3 for Harden. She knocks it down, and Purdue back in front. Give it up. Wagner, blocked from behind. Coming in our house.
Well, how about Ava Learn, just timing perfect on that block, but she's come in and played.
Ellis backpedals. Launches. Long 3 ball.
And most importantly, she's knocking down logo shots. Abby Ellis.
Into no man's land. And a reach foul, but it's not called. More overlays. Ellis gets it, pumps it, scores it.
Well, Alexa Goulbe for Indiana does a great job getting back in transition defense, but where's the rest of Indiana? Ellis gets the rebound.
Terry to inbound. Into the backcourt, look out, steal Wagner. Gives it up. And blocked from behind.
And then credit again, Janae Terry, number 10 in Blackstone, to come in here and make a massive defensive play. Completely blocks it. It's a clean block.
Welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Wolfie's Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena. Head coach is joining us. And Katie, you know, that was a great week of basketball in terms of the effort. And the game on Sunday would be in my top 5 in terms of atmosphere all time. And you're just that close to having it be such a great day. But it was still, I think, a step forward for the program the way you competed last week.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. I haven't slept much since the game, but you know, just we competed our tails off against a really good basketball team. The atmosphere, the student section, everybody that came to the game, you know, I hope they saw the effort and saw the excitement and the passion we play with, that maybe they'll be back next home game too.
You had a great student turnout. I know a lot of the paint crew was there. Indiana brought busloads of people. It was almost like an NCAA tournament atmosphere. I mean, it was back and forth, and the game was back and forth as well.
Yeah, it was a really good basketball game. Really fun to be a part of. You know, obviously we wanted it to go the other way at the end, but you know, what a great game for the women's side of things, right? For the game of women's basketball, for that game to be on FS1 and to to be able to put on that kind of game on a national scene was really good.
You know, we've talked about a lot of players emerging throughout the year. Ricky Waltman's going to be joining us later on, but the player that's really stepped up in the last couple of weeks, and we mentioned her on the last show, is Ava Learn. Ava's a kid that has started to kind of come around in practice, and she shows you more and more. Now she's gotten playing time, and she's showing you more when the lights are on game day.
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking about her and how, you know, her consistent effort and energy in practice is just there every single day. She never misses a day. She's always bringing it, and just talked about how she was getting better and better, starting to understand scouts more and more. Her ability to run the floor for us changes things, and we wanted to trap their ball screens and just kind of put some pressure on them to make some outside shots, and it just moves her feet so well, and she did such a great job for us on Sunday. Everybody
can play a role, and she'll bring you production in terms of points and rebounds and do the things that she has to do, but she brings energy. And she's a player that the crowd, whenever she's in the game now, the crowd seems to get energized.
Yeah, I think she's going to be a crowd favorite for her entire career here, but I had to chuckle a little bit, you know, and I'll give her a hard time here, but we're playing Iowa, and she gets an offensive rebound put back and gets an and one, and she celebrates, and we're down 13 with like a few seconds to go, and it just kind of made me smile because just that's the spirit she is, and it's everything that you want everybody around her, and it's so contagious. She's a joy to be around.
You've been around the game a long time as a player and as a coach, and you've had your share of great victories. You've had your share of heartbreaking losses. You said you haven't slept very much. How long does it take to shake a game like that out of your system?
This one will stay with me for quite a while, maybe until we get a chance to play them again. But that was a tough one. I've lost some games as coaches and players, but it really sucks to lose. It really sucks to lose to IU.
You know, you have to give credit where credit's due, and that is worth a round of applause. You have to give credit where credit's due. I thought Grace Berger made some tremendous shots down the stretch for them. And she started off slowly, and you thought, hey, maybe this is going to be one of those games. Patberg hit a huge three. I thought the shot of the game that cut it from 4-1, and then Grace Berger hit some really tough shots down the stretch.
Yeah, and Allie hadn't hit a shot from the perimeter all game. And I think Matt had just made 2 free throws to make it a 4-point game, and Berger gets downhill in transition and kicks to her and it knocks down. Berger's step back on the baseline was just next level stuff. That was a really big time stuff, and that's what happened. You know, their big time players made big time shots down the stretch, and we just weren't able to get that one more play.
You know, we talked after the game. Abby Ellis, I know, felt almost inconsolable after the game, after she had split the free throws with 1.4 seconds left. But you go back and you look at the box score, how many plays down the stretch Abby made to put you in that position to win the game. I know that's hard to get over, but I think as a coach, you probably one of the things you have to do is to help her see the bigger picture here.
Yeah, and she beat herself up, and but we all can look at it and say what one play could we have changed. And when that buzzer sounded, she walked straight to me, and her eyes welled up, and she looks at me and just says, "I'm sorry." She's not from Indiana, but not from the States, but she knew how much the game meant to me personally. And I felt like she felt like she let me down, but we grabbed her, then rallied the team around her. And I remember, I think Asia said something like, "One play does not define this. We're staying together." And that's just the makeup of our team. We are constantly there for each other in tough times, and we've got a lot of growing to do still and maturing, but we are headed in the right direction.
All right, we'll have more of the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union right after this. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
She comes off the bench and brings a spark of buckets.
Janae Terry finding Madison Layden. Nice entry pass. And Madison Layden after a...
This year, 24%. 24%? That is a huge decrease in percentage. As a passer and playmaker.
Purdue offense trying to get some rhythm started. Abby Ellis can't get that three-pointer to fall. Terry averaging 7.5 points per game on the year. As once again, up and under move. Warnock loses her footing. Good defense there. Brooke Moore now on the other end. And Brooke Moore gets the basket and the foul. Offensive rebound check it. Woolman has 6 points. on 3 for 3 from the field as Brooke Moore will launch this one from way downtown, and Brooke Moore buries the triple. In this first half, as a bad inbound pass is corralled by Janae Terry for Purdue. She'll find Layden in transition. Layden knocks down the 3 from the top of the key. As Terry will slow things down, driving in from left to right. Stopping and spinning, Janae Terry up and under, and gives the Boilermakers the lead for the Hawkeyes, 28-25. As Abby Ellis finds herself wide open in the near side corner, and Abby Ellis. Layden now inside, finding Janae Terry. Working her way inside, nice feed inside. From far away range, can't get it. Woolman tracks down the rebound. And now Ellis, left all alone, forgotten about in the left corner, and tickles the twine. Up ahead to Moore. Moore driving in, fast pace, gets the bucket and the foul. About that call, but Brooke Moore doing it once again, providing a spark for the Boilermakers.
Man, that Euro.
Welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show. The Boilermakers and the Fighting Illini of Illinois on Thursday night will be at the State Farm Center. That's an 8 o'clock Eastern time tip-off, so our broadcast will start at 7:45. A lot of folks checking in tonight on Facebook. We've got Littlestown, Pennsylvania, Swamico, Wisconsin, Remington, St. Louis, Missouri, and again, we've got Ricky Waltman coming up a little bit later on in the show. And I want to thank everybody for their kind words.
Wait, how about this guy? Can everybody put your hands together for this guy? This guy is the true GOAT over here.
Thank you. Earlier today, it came out that I'd been selected as the 2021 Indiana Sportscaster of the Year, which I only bring it up because, and you know this, Katie, as well as I do. You get a national coaching award, you get any award. It's never an individual award. It's always about the people around you, and I look at all the people at Learfield that have helped me, Mark Walpole and that group, the people I work with on the air, Jane Schott, who's been with me all these years, and on the football crew. This is a Purdue award, and I'm glad to see Purdue get some recognition this year. It's been a long time since a Boilermaker's been honored, so I appreciate the fact that they put my name on it, but this to me is a Purdue award because I'm a Purdue guy, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, but you deserve it. You know, I remember listening to you call the national championship game, you know, the game against Tennessee at home. You know, obviously working with you as a player when I was here, and now as a coach on the sideline. It's a pure joy for me, and I love being having you a part of our team.
You know, it really hit me. I saw your quote, and I was really thank you for the quote. It hit me. You were 5 years old when I started doing this. You were 5 years old when I started to do this.
You haven't done this very long because I'm still pretty young, so.
It's been a while. We were asked during the commercial break, somebody asked who you consult with from a head coaching standpoint when, you know, if you have these tough situations. I don't know if it's end of game situations, but as you're going through a season and maybe you have some tough times and some ups and downs, are there people you go to during the season for advice?
First and foremost, my dad. You know, he coached me growing up. He's one that kind of talks me through everything because he knows how my mind works. But you know, Beth has been amazing for me. And there's some things that, you know, we wish we would have done differently down the stretch. Obviously, that happens every time you lose. You know, I reach out to Christy Curry quite a bit. Coach Versup does a good job of texting me and trying to keep my mind straight. But you know, as in the coaching world, we all want each other to be successful until we're playing against that person, right? But I would say that's the group that's really my army around me.
Yeah, that's the other full circle. When you were 5 years old and still running around the playground, Terry Morin was the point guard on the first Purdue women's basketball team I broadcast. So somehow this all does come together in some big tidy bow, I guess.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Let's talk about the other two games that you played since the last coaches show, and let's start a couple of games ago at Michigan State. You went over there on a Sunday and beat the Spartans on the road, 69-59. Outscored them in the fourth quarter. It was a back-and-forth game, 8 ties, 13 lead changes. But, you know, we can talk about all the numbers that we want offensively. The job that you did and that Madison Layden did on Nia Clouden was the key to that win.
Yeah, that kid can really flat out score it. I mean, I think she was 7th in the country or something like that at the time. And Mad just, you know, we tried to sit on her left hand and make her shoot jump shots going to her right, and Mad followed the game plan. perfectly. But on top of that, we did a really good job of what we call staying on high alert when someone's best player has the ball. And we were on high alert, and we tried to clog the paint up on her. And Ricky did a really good job in the second half of making things difficult and really helping Madison out.
Madison Layden can really defend because of her length is the biggest plus that she's got, and her starts. Her length.
Did you ever think we would say Madison Layden can really defend?
Yes. Well, no.
She's over here somewhere, I think. Sorry, Mad.
But yes. And I think part of it is she's a very smart basketball player. She anticipates very well, but you can see when her length starts to bother people. And I thought even back in the Indiana game, you could see it having an effect.
Yeah, she was, she's a very intelligent basketball player and uses her length beautifully, but she's actually a lot quicker than people give her credit for, especially defensively. Her instincts, I think you probably all saw that last year, her ability to get hands on balls. But now we always put her on the other team's best player, and I thought against Iowa she did a really good job against Caitlin Clark. Even getting in foul trouble, she did a really good job against that kid.
Well, let's talk quickly about the Iowa game. 79-66 was the final, but I don't think I've ever seen a number like what we saw in that one. 77 of their 79 points were either scored in the paint or at the free throw line. They got to the foul line 30 times in Mackey Arena. Yeah, that seems excessive.
Doesn't it? I don't know what I'm supposed to say or what I'm allowed to say.
I can say whatever I want.
I don't know if I'm going to get
it
fined.
Seemed excessive. Let's just say that.
It seemed a little too much for me too. And for a team that shoots a lot of threes to get to the line that much, but we just never seemed to adjust to the way the game was being played, and we hung around for a little bit, but you just can't hang around with really good basketball teams, and that's kind of what we did. And they were able to, fourth quarter really put it to us.
Monica Sonano's a really tough post player, and the thing that really impresses me, she gets her work done early. We hear about that all the time, where you get post position, you make yourself available, and when she gets the ball, she shoots it pretty quickly. You don't have time a lot of time to bring a double.
Yeah, obviously we wanted to try to send a double, but 9 times out of 10, she doesn't even dribble it, right? She just gets really deep position, and it almost became impossible to even get there. If we almost had to get there before the catch, and knowing Iowa, the way they shoot the ball from the perimeter, we did a really good job guarding the three-point line, obviously, but 2 points outside the paint, that's tough.
All right, we'll have more in 2 minutes. It's the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
She comes off the bench and brings a spark of buckets.
Janae Terry finding Madison Layden. Nice entry pass. And Madison Layden after a...
This year, 24%. 24%? That is a huge decrease in percentage as a passer and playmaker.
Purdue offense trying to get some rhythm started. Abby Ellis can't get that three-pointer to fall. Terry averaging 7.5 points per game on the year. And once again, up and under move. Warnock loses her footing. Good defense there. Brooke Moore now on the other end. And Brooke Moore, the spark plug, gets the basket and the foul. Offensive rebound check it. Woolman has 6 points on 3 for 3 from the field as Brooke Moore will launch this one from way downtown, and Brooke Moore buries the triple. In this first half, as a bad inbound pass is corralled by Janae Terry for Purdue. She'll find Layden in transition. Layden knocks down the three from the top of the key. As Terry will slow things down, driving in from left to right. Stopping and spinning, Janae Terry up and under, and gives the Boilermakers the lead for the Hawkeyes, 28-25. As Abby Ellis finds herself wide open in the near side corner, and Abby Ellis. Layden now inside, finding Janae Terry. Working her way inside, nice feed inside. From far away range, can't get it. Woolman tracks down the rebound. And now Ellis left all alone, forgotten about in the left corner, and tickles the twine. Up ahead to Moore. Moore driving in, fast pace, gets the bucket and the foul. About that call, but Brooke Moore doing it once again, providing a spark for the Boilermakers.
Man, that Euro.
Back to the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Wolfie's Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena. By the way, we'll be back here next Tuesday night because Purdue's the women's team plays on Monday, and then we go back to our Monday slot for the rest of the season. So next Tuesday will be our next show. After the game, actually, I guess yesterday, we found out that Indiana's game tomorrow, the Wednesday game against Michigan State, has been postponed, and now late this afternoon it came out their game against Iowa this weekend has been postponed. We know that they had at least one COVID issue that was affecting the game on Sunday. They've got some bigger problems. The question for you is, does that concern you, the fact that you just played a team now that is having some COVID problems?
You know, concern, yes, because now we obviously have to, we're in this monitoring symptoms. I think, you know, we have a particular group that we have to monitor a little bit more, but what we've done is we've masked up in team meetings, masked up in the weight room now. We didn't practice in masks, and when we travel to Illinois, same kind of thing. You know, we just live in this world right now, like, where you just never know.
Right.
It's like you open the box of chocolates and how many have been eaten already, and you know, I don't know how many players I'm gonna have. So, our kids have done a really good job. You know, vaccinated, boosted. Everybody who can be boosted has already done that. So, you know, I think their willingness to put the team first and, you know, make some decisions outside the court that is just best for our team has been really, really good.
We should mention that the game that was postponed earlier against Wisconsin has been rescheduled. It's been rescheduled for February 13th, which is Super Bowl Sunday. It's a 4 o'clock Eastern time. Katie Gearlds believes that her Kansas City Chiefs will be playing in the Super Bowl, but I know that's wrong because my Buffalo Bills are going to be playing in the Super Bowl. One of us may be staying up in Madison after the game and getting to a TV as fast as we can.
Well, I've already booked my hotel, Tim, so we'll see what happens Sunday night when we're in Ann Arbor prepping for our Michigan game.
Yes, it will. I think we're going to have to go to neutral corners on Sunday night in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
That's all right. And then we can come back and reunite as Boilermakers the next day. You're hoping, of course, everybody's hoping that this thing is going to kind of ebb here and we're going to get through this. Right now, that's the only game that you have to make up. But you start to look around the Big Ten, and I think we're going to start to see these games stacked up. And you wonder, can they get all the games in? And then can you get a true league champion?
Yeah, they've sent out some information to us as coaches of what happens and, you know, how it's all going to go down. But you know, in my conversations with the Big Ten and everybody here at Purdue is, if we've got to play Saturday, Sunday, we're going to do it. If we're going to play back-to-back, we're going to do it. We're going to find a way to get all these. As long as we are healthy, we're going to find a way to get all these done.
All right, Ricky Waltman's going to join us next. I know we've talked a lot about her in the last couple of shows, but talk about the evolution of Ricky Waltman from her. You weren't here for her freshman and sophomore years, but you've seen the film. You saw her in the summertime. What's the evolution been like to where she is today? It's
been really fun for me to be a part of it, to play a role in her progress. The kid works her tail off too, and a true team player, a true sweetheart. It's been fun to watch her become more and more confident in who she is as a basketball player, and she's gonna keep getting better and better.
All right, Ricky's going to join us next. It is the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield. It is time for the Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how former Purdue student athletes are doing in their professional sports careers. Pro Boilers is presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. Both our Pro Boilers and Indiana Kitchen are Boilermade. We're going to focus on a couple of former Boilermakers. I guess they're forever Boilermakers. A couple of former players here who did very well for their teams last week and helped them both to victories. Andriana Keys in Romania helped her team to a 63-44 win. Andriana she would prefer to be called Keys, but I would rather call her Andriana. 21 points, 8 rebounds in 39 minutes, and her team is 12-1 and in first place in their league in Romania. Aya Traore, playing in Spain, led her team to a 69-54 win. Aya had 16 points. Her team is 8-5, and she's averaging 14 points and 5.5 rebounds a game. So those are just a couple of the Boilermakers playing overseas. Playing here in West Lafayette right now is Ricky Waltman. Ricky, a junior from St. Louis. Welcome to the show, first of all.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about your path from St. Louis to West Lafayette. What interested you in Purdue in the first place, and what made you become a Boilermaker?
I think just from jump, since I started playing basketball, I always knew that I wanted to play at a higher level, and it was always like a dream of mine to play in college. I think it was my sophomore year or going into my junior year that Coach Fursip has reached out to me, and then we just started talking from then. And I guess just throughout the recruiting process, I really just always enjoyed my time like on visits and coming here. And I guess I was just, I don't know, liked getting to know the girls and everything about it and the whole environment. So
it's all about fit. You come from Incarnate Word Academy, where your team won 3 state championships in Missouri. You helped lead the team to those 3 state titles. And, in fact, your team was ranked in the top 25 nationally your senior season. What was that like to prepare you for this next level of college basketball? You obviously played at a very elite high school basketball program.
I think that definitely did play a big role. I mean, I know my high school coach, Dan Rolfes, he definitely did a really good job of preparing all of us. You know, in all the games, it felt like it was kind of like playing for like a college team. Like there was a lot that he put in to like prepare us, because I know like there was a bunch of us that had went on to like play Division I or Division II. I mean, there's like 2 other girls from my graduating class that are playing at, you know, high D1 schools. So I think that played a big role, just playing with players that also like strive for that competition and want to make it to the next level, like really pushes you to do the same.
There are a few high school athletes that get to taste a state championship. You got to do it 3 times. What's that feeling like for somebody that's never won a state title? You go out, you have a goal at the start of the season, and here we are. We get to cut down the nets the last day of the season. What is that feeling like?
I know it definitely meant a lot to me and just the whole team in general. I know it was something that going to Incarnate, it had kind of like, it was like part of the program, you know, like state was the biggest time of the year, and that like it was always like it was expected that we were going to put ourselves in the position to make it to the tournament and to succeed and win in the tournament. So I feel like having that expectation just made it become more of a thing that like starting, you know, November 1st, the very first practice, that like it's go time, and you know, we're not just playing for the first game in November, but like we were playing so that we are ready to win state. So
talk about the transition. So you come to West Lafayette, you're coming here for your freshman year, and you've been a big fish and on a big pond because you played for a state champion team and a team that's ranked in the top 25. Now you come in and you've got to fight for minutes. How was that transition both on the court and also just socially here coming to college life?
On the court, it definitely was a big difference. You know, you go from like, especially, you know, the transition going from like a senior and you're kind of like the top dog to then a freshman and you have to start all over. It definitely was a bit of a transition, and I feel like socially it also was too, because I came from like a private school where I had like 80 other students in my graduating class, and then you go and there's like, you know, 50,000 or 40,000 students, however many it is. So
there's probably more than 80 in your introductory courses in your freshman year, and you don't know all of them by their first name. We're going to talk more with Ricky Waltman. We need to take a break. This is the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Rise, kisses for McNeil. Moore drives this time, squeezes it in for a 2. Into Waltman. Knockdown, turnaround, nothing there. Throw it in anyway. Now it's Moore. Off to Ellis. Driving, scooping, scoring!
Ellis showing just how crafty she is, bringing a little overseas flair to the drive.
6 for Ellis. Blocked by Woltman. Quickly the other way, Ellis. Attacks and scores. Closing in on 1,000 career points is Abby Ellis. Moore McNeil had no one on her, and all the time in the world. Couldn't knock it down. 3 for Hardin. She knocks it down, and Purdue back in front. Give it up. Wagner. Block from behind. Coming in our house.
Well, how about Ava Learns? Timing perfect on that block, but she's come in and played.
Ellis backpedals. Launches. Long 3 ball.
And most importantly, she's knocking down logo shots. Abby Ellis.
Into no man's land. And a reach foul, but it's not called. More overlays. Ellis gets it, pumps it, scores it.
Well, Alexa Goulbe for Indiana does a great job getting back in transition defense, but where's the rest of Indiana? Ellis gets the rebound.
Terry to inbound. Into the backcourt, look out, steal Wagner. Gives it up. And blocked from behind.
And then credit again, Janae Terry, number 10 in Blackstone, to come in here and make a massive defensive play. Completely blocks it. It's a clean block.
There's all kinds of goofy right. Drives, kisses.
By Purdue Federal Credit Union, we're live at Wolfie's Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena. Got a boiler up from Evanston, Illinois. And thank you, Cleve, for Let's Go Buffalo. I'm with you. Let's go Bills. Ricky Waltman, by the way, did you have a favorite football team growing up in St. Louis?
I mean, I would say when the Rams used to play here until they moved, but I haven't really followed football too much, so I wasn't like a diehard fan or anything.
Was basketball always your sport growing up? Was that really the sport that you focused on, or did you play a lot of sports as a kid?
I played them all like throughout, middle school and stuff, but then once I got to high school, I just had focused on basketball, but I would say I went to a lot of the St. Louis Cardinals games. I like them, but yeah, mostly just basketball.
Was there a basketball player that you tried to pattern your game after at all, or somebody that you really admired for the way he or she played on the court?
I would say, I don't know, if I would, pattern my game after them, but my favorite player was always Kevin Durant growing up. I was, obsessed with him, and he was, in everything that I did, so.
Let's talk about the transition, Ricky. You have a coaching change after your sophomore year, and you played sparingly your first 2 years as a freshman and sophomore, and then you come in and you got a new coach, and you've got to learn a new system, but we see a new Ricky Waltman on the floor. I asked the coach about it. Tell me from your standpoint, what's the transition been? Why are we seeing a Ricky Waltman who seems free and open and happy on the court?
I think I guess a couple of reasons. I think Coach Gearlds has definitely played a big part in that. I feel like, and not just me, but for everyone, I think she just does a really good job of putting confidence in her players and showing that she believes in us, which then makes us believe in ourselves. But I also think there's just the team dynamic. I know I'm someone that I kind of need to have a good environment in order for me to feel okay and I can really be myself and thrive and stuff like that. So I feel now just a completely different environment and coaching staff and just team in general, it just helps a lot.
We talked with the coach about the atmosphere. What was it like for you as a player to have 8,500 people in Mackey making a lot of noise on Sunday in what was a great atmosphere?
Yeah, it was crazy. I've you know, just walking in before the game, I mean, it was insane. I'd never, like, thought that I would play in front of that many people because, you know, the women's game, we don't quite get as many fans compared to, like, the men's game. So it was a lot of fun, and it was just great.
When you played your state championship games, where did you play those, and what kind of crowds did you play in front of in those games?
My first 2 years we played at Mizzou, and then my last 2 years we played at Missouri State. And there was still a pretty good crowd, but still, you know, not 8,000.
Yeah, not quite like what we had. Yeah. All right, let's talk about these upcoming games because a pretty important stretch coming up starting this week on the road. You've got down to about 6 weeks left in the season. What do you want to see out of this basketball team, and what are you looking to do and you try to pick your game up and continue to improve these last few weeks?
I think just the last week, obviously, you know, like our loss against Iowa and then Indiana is definitely tough, but I think that, like, it's just taught us, like, kind of where we need to grow, and I think it's kind of, like, lit a fire in us that, like, we really want to bounce back and, like, make a statement Thursday night. So I think it's just kind of given us a lot of motivation to just, you know, show that, like, we're able to bounce back.
It's fun to see the happy and very productive Ricky Waltman on the floor. Ricky, continue your great junior season, and we look forward to watching you down the stretch the rest of the way here.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have the head coach back with us after this. It's the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Two-word advantage and gets the Spartans on the board.
Long range three, that one is good. That's number 33, Madison Layden. But the ball gives up to Terry. Purdue has yet to make any substitutions. That's a long range three. Has actually checked that. There was one, Brooke Moore.
Over Brooke Moore. But with Purdue using Madison Layden's length to guard Nia Clouden, that really puts them at a tough advantage.
Terry can take this down as long as she can. Wide open corner three. That one is good. It rattles in. Brooke Moore. Hageman at the buzzer. Half-court shot is going to fall short. 21-15. Purdue leads. Michigan State needs to get on their horse here. Hageman dumps it off. Joyner inside. Packed by Janae Terry. A battle for it over on the right wing. Looks like Abby Ellis for Purdue is also looking to check in. Jayla Smith in the game for Purdue. She goes up and gets the and one to fall. Dumps it back out to Clouden. And look, she got hit in the face right there by Layden, but no fouls called. Here comes Abby Ellis. She will work the baseline, dumps it out, top of the key. Harden for three, and it goes in. Inside pass to Parks, double teamed inside. No foul call. She can't get that bucket to go in. Once again in the hands of Terry. Now off to Harden. Her three-pointer is good. Big shot from Cassidy Harden. Abby Ellis with the ball, top of the key, going up against Ack. Puts up the tough layup. Can't get it to go. The follow-up from Waltman, and one. You can count it. Hands picked up by Abby Ellis. Good job by her. Kind of found her way underneath everybody. Ellis up against Joyner. Oh, a tough layup. What a shot.
Drive from Ellis.
Michigan State scoring drought of 3 minutes and 40 seconds. They've been playing good defense, but can't quite get the offensive part to ensue. It's and one foul. Just under 4.5 minutes. Abby Ellis, the floater, and another and one.
Boilermakers and the Fighting Illini on Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and then Purdue against Michigan on Monday. We'll talk about both those teams in a second. Abby Ellis had some family members here from Australia. I know she was excited the last time we were on the show, and they were going to come in, and hopefully, I know that the results of the last two games weren't what they wanted, but I hope they had a great time while they were here.
Yeah, they're actually still here.
Still here.
Yeah,
okay.
Mom and sister, and then they surprised her with her best friend too. So it's been really cool, and I think they're staying until the 26th. Is her best friend staying for a little bit longer than that? Yeah, but they'll make the trip over to Illinois, so hopefully she plays just as well.
You know, sometimes we take for granted, and you got some kids here. You got one from New York, and you've got one from Missouri, one from here in the state with us on the show tonight. But you know, you look at a kid like that, or somebody like a Rokia Doumbia who comes over from Mali. We take for granted they're here, and yeah, they're away from home. They're halfway across the world from their family. And the adjustment that they have to make, not just as basketball players, but just to assimilate, go to college, and be here without that family support system close by, that's where the basketball family has to come in.
Yeah, I mean, you spend most of your times with your teammates in college, and You know, I think about my time playing in Europe and how I wasn't around my family and assimilating into different cultures and different lifestyles. But yeah, we've done a really good job. Our group has done a really good job of becoming that family.
Let's talk about the games this week, and we'll start with the Fighting Illini. Purdue split last year with Illinois, each one on their home floor, but both games were struggles. It's an Illinois team that is a little bit more successful than last year. Balanced scoring. I'm not sure if there's a player that you really have to key on, but they seem to be running a lot of different lineups out night after night, trying to find that right solution.
Yeah, I want to say they played 10 players, more than 10 minutes a game, so scouting report's a little bit longer than most, but really good athletes. Got a couple kids who can shoot it, but one thing they do, they rebound the heck out of basketball. So we've got to do a good job of cleaning the glass and not giving them second chance points.
And you know they have that experience now. Most of those kids on that team last year have been part of a team that beat Purdue on their home floor. So they've done it once. They'll feel they can do it again.
Yeah, we've got somebody on our team that got that win. So we got to make sure we have her back.
When you have a player like that, and we've been in that situation on the opposite side, it seems like, over time and time again, where a former player will come back and play against Purdue. Now you've got Janae Terry, who played a couple of seasons in Champaign. Do you have to try to keep her, because I know that her adrenaline's going to be pumping Thursday night when she goes in there.
I don't know how many times she's going to say the defender was too little, or she's going to run down the court and, you know, do something Janae Terry-like. But we just got to, you know, we got to make sure we have her back. Obviously, you want to try to keep the kid calm, but,
right.
You know, that's a big part of her life. She was there for 2 years and has a lot of relationships, and we've got to make sure we take care of our business so we can have her back.
And it does give you a little bit of a scouting report. She played with a lot of those kids. She knows their tendencies.
She did, and she does. And, you know, I was talking to her today about who she was going to guard. And she's like, oh, yeah, I know what she likes to do. So, okay, let me see it.
Different situation on Monday night. We know the go-to player for Michigan, one of the top players in the country, Naz Hillman, as good a post player as we have in this conference, and she'll be a handful on Monday.
She's one of the best players in the country. And what the best thing about Naz Hillman to me is just her motor. The kid never stops. She just plays hard every single possession, and obviously we'll have our hands full. They got some shooters on the outside and way too many kids from Indiana, so we'll have to see what we can do. Yeah,
they had a big game. They crushed Maryland over the weekend, and Maddie Nolan came out and I think 7 3-pointers in that game. That's something that you know that Hillman's going to get hers, but you can't let somebody else go off like that.
Yeah, and Maddie had a great game, and you know you add Leah Brown, and that Leah Brown, I mean, they're just really good. Emily Kleiser's been playing really well for them, so it'll be an interesting matchup. You know, obviously right now I haven't watched any Michigan. I can't move on until the next game, but the staff is working on it, and we'll try to have a best game plan together.
All right, we'll have our final segment of the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. Right after this, this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Drives, kisses for McNeil. Moore drives this time, squeezes it in for a two. Into Waltman. Back down, turnaround, nothing there. Throw it in anyway. Now it's Brooke Moore. Off to Ellis. Driving, scooping, scoring.
Ellis showing just how crafty she is, bringing a little overseas flair to the drive.
6 for Ellis. Blocked by Waltman. Quickly the other way, Ellis. Attacks and scores. Closing in on 1,000 career points is Abby Ellis. Moore McNeil had no one on her, and all the time in the world. Couldn't knock it down. 3 for Harden. She knocks it down, and Purdue back in front. Give it up. Wagner, block from behind. Coming in our house.
Well, how about Ava Learn, just timing perfect on that block, but she's come in and played.
Ellis backpedals. Launches. Long 3 ball.
And most importantly, she's knocking down logo shots. Abby Ellis.
Into no man's land. And a reach foul, but it's not called. More overlays. Ellis gets it, pumps it, scores it.
Well, Alexa Goulbe for Indiana does a great job getting back in transition defense, but where's the rest of Indiana? Ellis gets the rebound.
Terry to inbound. Into the backcourt, look out, steal Wagner. Gives it up. And blocked from behind.
And then credit again, Janae Terry, number 10 in Blackstone, to come in here and make a massive defensive play. Completely blocks it. It's a clean block.
Federal Credit Union, home of the official credit union for Purdue fans. Learn more at PurdueFed.com. We just talked before the break about what you'll need to do or what Illinois and Michigan will do. But let's talk about Purdue. What are you working on specifically this week? And what, as we're looking toward these last 6 weeks heading into the Big Ten tournament, what do you think needs to be ramped up the most for your team to be at full strength going into March?
You know, one thing we talked about, I think we're getting better defensively every day. I mean, I think we're really competing on, or trying to compete on the defensive end, and, you know, offensively, just timing and all those things. Spacing has continued to improve and evolve for our basketball team. But the one thing we talked about today was just maturity and growth. You know, from 2 to 4 on Sunday, we gave everything we had. And now taking that and bottling it up and making sure we bring it every single day in practice. And you know, we talk about the Navy SEALs. You know, like you in pressure situations, you always sink to the level of your training. And so if every day we give that same kind of energy, that same kind of focus, that same kind of want and will every day in practice, then in that game, it's not an 8-point game with 3 minutes to go. It's a 15-point game, and we've already closed it out. So that's the maturity and growth we're talking about with our basketball team. But they responded today. I thought our effort was really, really good. We didn't shoot it well today, but those things you live with. Basketball is a humbling game. I went 2 for 18 one time at Connecticut, and that was very, very tough. But it's a humbling game, and you get back up on a horse, and you just trust your work, and that's the growth for our basketball team.
You mentioned the defense, and that's the last thing I wanted to talk about. I thought the game against Sunday, you know that Indiana's going to come out and defend because they've been year after year the best defensive team in the conference. But I thought you matched them, and we mentioned, I think when you say it's a game is a rock fight, that's a tribute to both teams and the way they're playing, and that was a good old-fashioned rock fight you had on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, we are getting better, and we miss some rotations and we miss some box outs, but we compete so hard defensively. We got a group that's really buying into what we're asking them to do on the scouting report and knowing personnel and understanding that. There's been a lot of growth in that area for our basketball team, but I thought, especially in the first half, our attention to detail. There's a couple clips in my mind right now, just us, you know, I think we pressed, the ball went over the top, Ava closed out, she tried to drive, everybody was in help side, she brought it out, everybody got, I mean, just the effort and the attention to detail was just really, really good.
Let's take this show on the road and get a couple of wins. We'll see you next Tuesday. All right, the Boilermakers again taking on the Fighting Illini of Illinois on Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. We'll have that one starting at 7:45. And then Monday night, remember, an earlier start time than normal. The game will tip off at 6 o'clock Eastern time, so we'll have that broadcast starting at 5:45. And we'll be right back here next week for the Katie Gearlds Show at Wolfie's, 7:10 on Tuesday night. Want to thank our on-site engineer, Wes Scott, and our producer, Eric Wake. We want to thank Ricky Waltman and company for coming out and joining us tonight. And again, don't forget the Boilermakers are going to be back home next Thursday, so let's get a big crowd at Mackey Arena when Minnesota comes to town. For the head coach, this is Tim Newton, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.